Hey church, a reflection for you on serving this morning from Exodus 3:11 to 12. But Moses said to God, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the children of Israel out of Egypt?" God said, "But I will be with you, and this shall be a sign for you that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you shall serve God on this mountain." Help for the hesitant. That's what we're talking about today. We can often be hesitant to serve God, can't we? You've been watching the Olympics lately, and it's amazing how you can watch these Olympians who have trained for years, and right before they run, you watch them in an instant, a fraction of a second, they lose something, some confidence. They second guess themselves, and it causes them to stumble, to have an accident, to crash into the mat or something. We can often be hesitant when we come to serve God, can't we? For fear of failure, being unsure, we haven't done this before, we lack confidence, there's people watching us. We can be hesitant to serve God. There's a few things in this text that can really help us. And what's really interesting is that when Moses asks the question, "Who am I?" God responds to him by pointing back to himself. The help for the hesitant comes from focusing on God and not on ourselves. And there's three things we see about God in this passage. The first is that God is the one who sends us. That's what Moses needs to see, that he's being sent by God. The amazing thing about that is, God doesn't say, "Moses, focus on yourself. You're going to be this great leader who's going to do all these great things. You're going to be this future amazing leader, and these miracles are going to flow through your staff and all this." But God says, "Focus on me as the sender." God says, "I will send you," in verse 11. What's amazing about that is the fact that, as we consider serving, we need to recognize that it's a part of God's plan. It's not our idea. It's not us doing it because we've come up with this brilliant thing and we're going to change the world. It's actually because we're a part of God's plan. And that can give us a great sense of meaning to what we're doing, also a great sense of comfort in the results. Doesn't matter, it's a part of God's plan. And so we can step out. There's help for the hesitant in understanding that God sends us. The second thing is to focus on God as Father. God's heart is a father, and we see that in this passage, that God calls his people children. In other words, he is their father. And that means, if you're a parent, or if you're someone who's got a friend who's a parent's love for their kids is fierce, isn't it? And this means that God loves his people more than even we do. And so even if we lack confidence in our service, this means we can go to God for help. We can go to God for advice. We can go to God when we're feeling down and out about it, or when we're lacking something for it, because we know he'll supply us to take care of his kids. He wants nothing bad to happen to them. And so he'll give us everything we need, of course, to serve them. So we need to understand that it's God who sends us. We're a part of his plan, that we're serving God's kids, and sure, he's going to give us everything we need to care for them. But finally, God says to Moses, when Moses says, "Who am I?" God says, "Don't forget, I will be with you." That's the most important thing. I will be with you. And one of the things that means is God is the one who will give us strength to serve others. I'll be with you. This is not you doing something in your own ability. Sure, I'll use your gifts and your talents and your skills that I've given you, but you will serve with the strength that I provide, says God. I'll be right there. Peter, the Apostle Peter, who had lots of doubts, lots of hesitancy, he picks up on this. He knows this to be true. And in 1 Peter 4:11 he says, "If anyone serves, they should do it with the strength that God provides, so that in all things God may be praised through Jesus Christ." It's not about you. It's about God empowering you to serve. The final thing that I love in this passage is that God promises Moses a sign. The hesitant often would love to know, wouldn't we, that what we're doing is truly what God has called us to do today. How do I know I'm going about the right thing? What's amazing about this is God says, when you have brought the people out of Egypt, then you'll know. In other words, sometimes you don't know. You've just got to jump in sometimes and start serving. And hey, if it doesn't fit, if it's not right, if it's not perfect, no big deal. Nothing bad has been done. God's going to care for his kids. On the other hand, if you jump in and start serving and doing the opportunity or serving the need that's in front of you, maybe, just maybe, it's going to be a part of God's eternal purposes. Maybe, just maybe, God will draw eternal fruit out of it. And it'll be a part of what he's doing in the world. Wouldn't that be wonderful? So let's serve God, not hesitantly, but understanding that he's our sender, understanding that he he is the father of his children. He'll help us. And then finally, understanding that God is with us no matter what.